The music was a soft, complex thrumming of air through alien membranes, a sound more felt than heard. It drifted through the grand arboretum of the diplomatic station Orbital Bloom, a place of fragile truce and careful glances. Representatives from a dozen species mingled under the bioluminescent trees, their conversations a hushed treaty of protocols and potential. He moved through the crowd with an easy familiarity, a human engineer off duty. His ship, the Courser, was docked for minor repairs, and he had accepted the invitation to this cultural exchange, mostly for the free food. He watched the alien delegates, a tapestry of forms, some chitinous, some furred, some glistening with moisture, all moving with a stiff, formal precision. The dance floor was a wide, polished expanse of obsidian, empty save for the shifting patterns of light. Then he saw her. She stood apart near a crystalline fountain, her form elegant and strangely humanoid, though her skin held the subtle, shifting hue of twilight on water. Two intricate, silvery crests swept back from her temples, and her gown was a fall of living moss that shimmered with each breath. Her eyes, large and dark, watched the empty floor with an expression he could not place, not boredom, but a deep, weary loneliness. It was that look which decided him. He finished his drink, something citrusy and non-toxic, and walked over, ignoring the subtle tension that rippled through nearby attendants. "It's a shame," he said, his voice translator emitting a soft series of chimes in her language. All this music and no one using the floor. She turned, and those dark eyes focused on him with an intensity that was almost physical. Her attendants, slender beings with similar crests, made a slight, aborted movement forward, which she stilled with the smallest twitch of a finger. "It is a formal gathering," she replied, her own translator rendering her words into smooth, accented English. "The dances are prescribed. No one has been prescribed for this segment." He grinned, a very human expression. "Well, that's the problem with prescriptions. Never any room for improvisation." He offered his hand, palm up in the human custom. "Would you care to improvise?" A profound silence seemed to envelop their little corner of the arboretum. The attendants were rigid. The alien woman studied his hand, then his face. That weary loneliness in her eyes was challenged by a spark of pure, undiluted curiosity. "You do not know the steps," she stated. "I don't," he agreed cheerfully. "But the music has a beat. I have feet. You seem like you could use a moment not thinking about prescribed anything. It's just a dance." The word just did something. It was a concept so small, so dismissive of grandeur, that it seemed to shatter an invisible barrier around her. A slow, genuine smile touched her lips, a rare sight on any face in this room. "A strange proposal," she said, "but I accept." She placed her hand in his. Her skin was cool and smooth. He led her onto the obsidian floor, and as they reached the center, every other conversation in the arboretum died. Hundreds of eyes, literal and compound, fixed upon them. He had no idea what he was doing. So he started simply, a slow, human box step, guiding her with a gentle pressure on her back. For a moment, she was stiff, a monarch carved from amethyst and moss. Then she began to feel the rhythm he was following, a basic 1-2-3 against the complex alien melody. She adjusted, her movements becoming fluid, her steps mirroring his, then embellishing, turning the simple human pattern into something elegant and new. "You are from the human ship," she said as they turned. "The Courser. Drive maintenance. I'm told our ambassador is around here, probably talking tariffs." She laughed, a sound like water over stones. "You are not with the diplomatic corps. Stars, no. I just fix the engines that get them to places like this. Much simpler. Less talking. A refreshing perspective," she murmured. "Everything here is weighted with meaning. Every gesture, every word, is a calculated move in a game of empires. Sounds exhausting, he said, spinning her out and gently pulling her back. She followed the motion with a natural grace. Sometimes a dance is just a dance. A moment of shared balance. Nothing more. They moved in silence for a full rotation of the floor. He was aware of the staring crowd, of the agitated flutter of her attendants, but he kept his attention on her. The weariness in her eyes was receding, replaced by a bright, fascinated light. "You are not concerned with the protocols you are breaking," she observed. "Did I break some?" "Sorry. I'm sure they'll forgive me. I'm just a mechanic." At the edge of the floor, a new group arrived. They were of her species, but adorned in severe robes of office, their faces etched with alarm and disbelief. One, an elder with a crest dipped in gold, stepped forward, his voice a sharp, untranslated command. She did not stop dancing. She merely looked over his shoulder at the elder and gave a slow, deliberate blink. The authority in that simple gesture was absolute. The elder recoiled as if struck and retreated, bowing deeply. His human partner noticed none of this, his back to the commotion. "Everything okay?" "Perfectly," she said, her smile returning. "A minor matter of state. It is handled." The music began to swell toward a conclusion. He led her into a final, simple turn, ending with a slight, playful dip. She went with it, her mossy gown shimmering, a look of unadulterated delight on her face. For that moment, she was not a monarch. She was just a woman who had been asked to dance. As the music faded, the spell broke. The crowd remained silent, a forest of stunned beings. He straightened and gave a short, polite bow. "Thank you. That was the most fun I've had all week." "The gratitude is mine," she said, and her voice had changed. It was warmer, yet carried a new, undeniable weight. "You have granted a gift you cannot comprehend." Before he could ask what she meant, the elder in gold robes approached again, this time with a procession. They knelt in a circle around her, their heads bowed. The entire arboretum seemed to hold its breath. The woman, though, the queen reached up and touched one of the silvery crests at her temple. It detached with a soft click, revealing it to be not a natural feature, but a piece of exquisite jewelry. She held it for a moment, a symbol of supreme office, known to every being in the galactic concord. She placed the crest in his palm and closed his fingers over it. "A token," she said, her voice now carrying to the edges of the room without effort. "From the sovereign of the Valerian Dominion. You have reminded a ruler what it is to be a person. That is a lesson of immeasurable value." He stared at the cool metal in his hand, the enormity of the situation crashing down. He had just casually danced with an interstellar empress. I didn't know," he managed. "That," she said, "was the entire point. You saw me. Not a title, not a symbol, just a partner for a dance." She leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper for him alone. "Your species' greatest strength is not your technology or your ambition. It is this profound, galaxy-altering normality. You treat the monumental as mundane, and in doing so, you remind us all of our own simple hearts. Never lose that." With that, she turned. The procession closed around her, and she moved away. Once more the unapproachable monarch, her step a little lighter. The human stood alone on the dance floor, the crest heavy in his hand. The silence shattered into a cacophony of whispers and transmitted reports. The human ambassador, a flustered man in a formal coat, rushed over, his face pale. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" The ambassador hissed. He looked from the crest to the retreating back of the queen, then to the ambassador. The initial shock was melting away, replaced by a calm, human clarity. He had followed a simple impulse, one born of kindness and a desire for connection. In this room of calculated diplomacy, it had been the most revolutionary act possible. He tossed the royal crest in the air once, caught it, and pocketed it. "Yeah?" he said, a slow grin spreading across his face. "I asked someone to dance, and she said yes." He nodded to the stunned ambassador and walked off the floor, heading back toward the docking bay and his engines. Behind him, the galactic diplomats buzzed. Treaties were being re-evaluated, and the story began to spread. It was not a story of military might or technological triumph. It was a story of a simple, fearless question, asked in a room full of answers, and how that one human moment of normality had, just for a while, changed the tone of the universe.